So yesterday we started the discussion on the 10 perfections. These are 10 qualities which, when they get perfected in any person, then it leads to that state of complete purity where a person becomes an Arya or becomes Khalis or Pak or holy in the real sense. And yesterday we discussed the first three of them: generosity or dana, giving, how giving can be done in different ways, not only materially, but physically, intellectually, and above all, the giving of the teaching of the Dhamma, the teaching of this Sanatan Dharma, which is nothing but the awareness of the laws of nature, the inviolable laws of nature, which are eternal. And when one offers this to somebody, this awareness to somebody, then you're offering that possibility to such people to come out of their suffering. So, another form of dan, another form of giving, considered to be the highest form of giving because it can enable people to break the shackles of suffering which they've been undergoing for countless existences. And the second was Shila, morality, the five precepts, and how that is the foundation of any spiritual practice. And for any person really seeking tranquility in life, that has to be the bedrock. And the stronger that foundation of morality, the more robust would be the practice, the more vibrant would be the practice of spirituality based on that morality. And the third was renunciation, nekhamma, parami, where uh, the practitioner very gradually starts detaching himself or herself from animate, inanimate objects, starting with uh, things which might be very gross, maybe some intoxicants, maybe something like a innocuous tea, coffee, or the propensity to eat a specific kind of food or all kinds of food, overindulge, etc., etc. And then from the gross, gradually one starts going to the subtle. So, very gradually, one renounces, and it can be done as a householder. You can very much be a householder and be in a high state of renunciation. So, it doesn't have to necessarily mean that you have to renounce the world, wear a particular colored dress, shave off your head, and then go into the forest or go to the hills or go away from civilization. It doesn't mean that. In a extreme sense, yes, it does. But for householders also, this is possible to do. And the idea is the more you detach, the more you're coming out of your suffering, the more you're creating the grounds for coming out of your suffering. So, moving on now, today we'll discuss further. The next one is wisdom, panya in Pali, and pragya in Hindi, Sanskrit. Wisdom is different from the uh, intellectual knowledge which one acquires. One could have read uh, hundreds and thousands of books and might have uh, a whole lot of alphabets prefixed before one's name in terms of titles and accomplishments, and have an immense knowledge intellectually, but may not still have the wisdom to see the reality of life, of one's existence as it really is. And this wisdom comes with the practice. Of course, there are three levels of wisdom, as was shared earlier. The Shrutmayi Pragya, where you hear some enlightening words through a discourse, through an audio tape, or you read it uh, through some message or a book or an article, and it resonates with you, and you uh, uh, feel that this is something worth remembering. So, the first level of wisdom, Shrutmayi Pragya, and the next level, Chintanmayi Pragya. You think about such uh, facts or such inputs that you have received in the past, which has resonated with you, and then you contemplate on it deeply, and then try and connect it with your past events of life, and you find that it sounds very, very logical, and it becomes a wisdom because you start believing in those inputs that you get at a deeper level, but it is still not your experience. It is still something which you have accepted at the intellectual level. And that's where the third level of wisdom comes in, where it is experiential wisdom, bhavanamai pragya, where you experience those inputs, those truths which you had earlier accepted at the intellectual level, and you experience that they are actually correct because you have uh, gone through them at the level of your very existence, very experience. Practically, you've experienced it in real life, and then it becomes internalized in the real sense, and that's the highest form of wisdom, bhavanamai pragya, or experiential wisdom. So, for example, you've heard of an exotic fruit which is found in maybe in Thailand or in certain islands in the Pacific or maybe in Hawaii. And it's an exotic fruit, very, very delicious, extremely tasty, and maybe also nutritious. And you do some research about it, and you find that yes, it has so many nutrients in it because that's the scientific research on that fruit. And it's so tasty because you've heard and read about the experience of so many people, and you have experienced only intellectually the taste that fruit might have. Only in your mind you have uh, visualized it would taste in a particular way. It would be sweet, but tangy sweet. Now, you will then try and go back to your memory bank and see what all is tangy sweet. Will it be like a kiwi? Will it be like a orange or whatever? So it's still your imagination, but it becomes your truth when you actually get your hands on that fruit and you actually start eating it. Then it becomes your reality, that taste which was described and you had imagined very vividly. For the very first time, you experience it, and then it comes alive in all its glory for you. That is the experiential wisdom. And this arises with the deepening of the samadhi. As the Samma Samadhi deepens, more and more wisdom arises. And this wisdom enables us to dispel the veils of ignorance which lie between us and the truth. So, and this samadhi gets intensified only when it is based on a strong foundation of morality. So, strong morality gives you a strong foundation. And when you do the practice of samadhi, samma samadhi, pure concentration, that intensifies and it gives rise to more and more wisdom, more and more pragya to do and see what is wholesome. And then there is greater appreciation of morality, and one is able to follow morality even more diligently, even more intensely, which makes the foundation even stronger. And when you do the practice of samadhi, concentration on that strong foundation, then more intense pragya or wisdom arises. And this keeps on uh, continuing like this, each one supporting the next, intensifying the next, reinforcing the next in this manner till one reaches the final goal. So the fourth one, wisdom. The fifth is energy, virya, effort. So the effort which you have to put in, it has to be diligent effort, yet patient effort. And you're reminded of this every day after the session concludes. Do not set any timelines when you do the practice. Do not set any timelines in terms of the expectations of any out of the world experiences or any uh, special powers, etc., etc. If you do, then this practice will not work for you. It has to be done without any expectations, with a lot of patience and a lot of diligence. And this energy, this effort, which is to be put in, is to be fourfold. Fourfold in terms of addressing all the wholesome and unwholesome states as shared uh, as follows. So, the first aspect of the effort would be to address the existing unwholesome states which are there in the mind. So, you put in the effort and you eliminate these unwholesome states from your mind. Second, you make sure that all the unwholesome states that are not yet part of your mind or which have been expelled from your mind do not come back, do not find shelter or find a perch in your mind once again. So you first you expel them repeatedly. Second, You make sure that they do not find a perch, find a resting place in the mind again. Third, you put in effort to nourish those wholesome mental states which are already existing in your mind so that they take deep roots in your mind, become stronger, more intense, these wholesome states. And fourth, effort to acquire those wholesome mental states which are not yet part of your mind. And you constantly put an effort to acquire them repeatedly, repeatedly, diligently, patiently, so that they start becoming a default part of your mental state, a default mental state. And you keep on nourishing them so that they strike deep roots in your mind, so that increasingly it becomes your uh, default state of mind. So, fourfold effort. So, today we've covered two additional qualities which make up the 10 perfections or the 10 parmittas or 10 qualities which, when perfected, leads a person to reaching that state of complete purity, the final destination. Yeah. So if anyone has any questions, any thoughts, any doubts about this, please feel free to share.
Yeah. Can I repeat this last one, the effort part, the first and second part of it? Third and fourth, I understood that.
Okay, so yeah, the first and second would be to eliminate, expel the unwholesome mental states. So, for example, if you have uh, this defilement of anger, it's an unwholesome mental state, or hatred, unwholesome mental state, you want to eliminate it from your mind. Then you constantly practice the awareness, the equanimity. Whenever you find that anger is coming up, you're aware, you remain equanimous in those moments when anger comes up, and you do not react. You remain balanced, you remain equanimous. And increasingly, you are driving out that defilement from your mind. And you ensure, second effort, you ensure that this defilement which you're trying to drive out does not come back again. So you've been, uh, you started getting a lot of success in eliminating this unwholesome state, but you have to remain alert that it does not come back again, because it's very easy for it to rear its head again and increasingly start rearing its head if you're not careful. So you remain alert, you put in that effort to remain alert, aware in the face of any situation where anger could come up again. And if you find it coming up again, you maintain that awareness, equanimity. Do not allow it to become part of your mind again. And apart from that, any other unwholesome mental state, which is yet not a habit, not part of your mind, you always remain guarded that they do not become a habit. They do not start coming into your mind repeatedly. So that's the uh, two fold effort related to the unwholesome mental states.
Thanks.
Any other question?
Ji,
Yes.
I have a question, Ji. Um, Hanji, can I ask?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Ji, just the sequence. Is the sequence which in which you are telling us these paramis, are they from the tradition, or are they kind of? I mean, so I just want to know if the sequence is also part of the tradition, because in it seems to me. I mean, like my first thought was shield should come first, or probably nikhamma, but no, it's done. So that's what I want to know.
So no, I'm not sharing them in any specific sequence, and I'm not aware if they have to come in any specific sequence, because you are expected to, as was shared, the simile of you know 10 large pots. So these are like giant pots. Each quality is like a giant pot, which you, anytime you do anything wholesome related to each one of those qualities, you put in, you add a drop or a couple of drops in that large giant pot. And you continue doing that. Once, when those pots fill up, then that quality gets perfected. It becomes a perfection. So uh, it doesn't come in any specific order. You have to continuously every day try and fulfill or try and fill up these pots as much as possible, because life is short. One doesn't know how much time remains. So why wait for uh, the uh, the dhan to be given only when you go to your place of worship, or when you go out on your birthday, or your child's birthday, or your grandchild's birthday? Why once a year? Why just twice a year? Why not every day? Why not many times a day? Yeah. Similarly with Sheila, there's something which is uh, part of your everyday life, your morality. So also nikhamma, renunciation. Am I attached to uh, something, animate, inanimate, the food which I'm having, the person I'm interacting with, etc., etc. So it's a everyday part of your life. All these qualities are something or aspects of your life which you are experiencing every day. So this practice is not distinct, it's not separate from life. Many people feel that the spiritual practice is something separate from the life we lead. It's not. It's just a greater understanding of the subtler aspects of our life. And when we start having a greater appreciation of those subtler aspects of life, then it adds more value to the life that we are leading. So it's not separate from the life that we are leading in any way.
Oh, thank you very much.
You're welcome. So if there are no other questions, then we'll conclude the morning session. So wishing everyone more moments of awareness and equanimity in the day that lies ahead. Do continue to put in the effort diligently, patiently, without setting any timelines. Do continue to put in that effort to experience the bliss which comes from this practice of awareness and equanimity, not only in the sitting, but in the ordinary moments of your life that lie ahead today. Do remember to practice the loving kindness, the Mangal Maitri after the session concludes. And beyond that, remembering not to make it mechanical if you want to really experience the joy of that practice. Have a meaningful day. See you again in the next session. Namaste.